A friend of mine and I, we planned for somewhere around 4 or 5 months to elk hunt together. He came to our home, stayed with us, and we hunted from here. Hunted elk for quite a number of days. I'd lined up about 3 months ahead of time, 3 head of horses to be able to use, to be able to pack elk if we need to pack the elk a distance somewhere. And so we were up most mornings about 4 or 4:30 in the morning and out of here by about 6:30, 6:45, or maybe a little earlier to get where we wanted to go. Had to saddle up here, finish saddling where we got to for the day, and one thing another. And right off the bat, we learned that the horse that I was riding didn't like to cross a bridge. It crossed creeks, but it didn't like to cross a bridge. And I led a horse as a pack animal. Could have been ridden also, but I probably should have rode. And my friend rode another horse. And it just kind of went this way. And I figured by the time, they were going to kill an elk, they were probably going to have maybe an issue to do with crossing a river or whatever. And sure enough, it was an issue to cross the river. And anyway, after spotting elk numerous different days, we really couldn't get on to at a distance. Too much work. We eventually found an elk, within a couple hundred yards. And Jimmy got in position, and the elk was 200 yards away. A nice, big, fat-bodied 6-point bull. This was his first bull elk. He got in a good rest situation, and he shot this bull, and I was watching with binoculars, and the bull kind of flinched like that, run forward, and I could see a little bit of movement, and then everything all went quiet. Went kind of into some trees, but I could see a little movement. For a moment, the bull was down very quickly. He made pretty doggone close to a perfect shot on this bull, shooting a 300 Winchester Magnum that I built for him, 180 grain Nosler Accubons, and that 180 Accubon penetrated completely through that bull and exited on the far side. Now I'd estimate this bull to be about an 800-pound bull. He had a huge, huge body. Well, anyway, we were just with the vehicle at the time, so we come home, and I'm trying to sort out in my mind what we're going to do. And I ended up calling an area outfitter that's only about 3 miles from us here. His name is Jimmy Owens, and he operates Lost Creek Outfitters. Now Jimmy's a top hand, and he's got top hands working for him. But because of a death in the family, Jimmy said he was going to have one of his guides get a hold of me that was loose at the time, and he could perhaps come and help. He called me in about an hour, said he was on his way, and in about another 2 hours, we met where we needed to meet to be able to go across the river and be able to butcher this bull and pack him out. Not only was this guide, not only did he show up, his name was Cam, his gal friend showed up, and a friend of his that had never been on any situation like this showed up. So there's the two of us, Jimmy and I, and the three others. Just wonderful, wonderful folks. And we spent quite a bit of time, you know. Had a little bit of difficulty crossing the river on the horse I was on. I thought he was going down in the river with me, about 7 or 8 feet from the shore. I kicked the daylights out of him, and he got up out of the river and got up on the bank, and we got things straightened out. And we headed, you know, over 3/4 of a mile to where we had to go to get to where the elk was. And the 5 of us got a hold of the back legs of this elk. We needed to move him about a foot, ideally, and it's all we could do, the 5 of us, to move that bull about a foot backwards. And Cam was the guide's name. Cam did an absolutely outstanding job. You know, he just pretty much did the whole thing with us helping various different aspects, to do with cutting off the legs, to do with holding the hide while he was skinning, one thing, another, caping, and so on and so forth. And they came with 2 big stout horses,
mules,
and about you know, an average size horse, and 2 pack mules. Now these were real solid animals. They had no issue crossing the river. And we're all done, and we're all packed up. Got the meat 100% clean in the game bags, in the panniers on the pack mules. Got the elk rack lashed in on the pack properly, so there isn't any issue with that. And we headed out, and the 3 helpers and their horses and mules went across the river. My horse went out in the river about 7 foot and just stood there, wouldn't go anywhere. Well, Cam had to come back, and I handed him my lead rope from my halter, and he led across, and Jimmy's horse followed. And everything worked out. But I have got to say that I was never as frustrated in trying to get this to all turn out and work right. And it turned out, and it couldn't have worked any better. Now, while I'm talking about this, if you have any interest in hunting mountain sheep, mountain goat, elk in this part of Wyoming, you would do no better than to get a hold of Jimmy Owens. He's a fella in his 40s. He's growing up in this kind of business, did this, you know, for a lot of years. He's got some good guides working for him, and they go the extra mile to see that you have a wonderful time and that you enjoy yourself. And this is what it's all about. It's hard enough to draw a permit and one thing another. And the next thing that I need to mention, this friend of mine, he has a guide business that he operates entirely on his own, has a van. I think the van will haul around 20 people, 15 to 20 people, something like that. Anyway, he operates in Teton and Yellowstone Park. This is basically sightseeing and photographing wildlife. And Jimmy has a huge background as a geologist and drilling and horizontal drilling and one thing another. And he basically got away from that about a dozen years ago and started this business. And there's nobody more coherent to be with, and sees that you will have the very best trip that you can possibly have. Every day is going to be different. You're going to see black bear, you're going to see grizzlies, you're going to see wolves, you're going to see moose, you're going to see elk, you're going to see deer, you're going to see mountain goats, you're going to see sheep and antelope. But you got to understand, you're not going to see all this every day, and some days you might only see a couple different animals. But some days you might see a whole bunch. And he showed people through his trips until he left to come and hunt with me. He showed his folks 87 bears, about around 20 some black bears, and the rest of them were grizzlies. And I'm talking about sometimes from only 30 yards away from off the highway, maybe something out 100, 150, 200 yards. Maybe it might be twice that far. But I don't think that there's anybody that you would find that you would have a more enjoyable time with, because the understanding, the very distinct features, all the surroundings of Yellowstone and Teton. And the Tetons, you see, this is where he ventures with his folks. You've got to understand that he's booked up for quite some time at different points in time. From time to time he has a day or two opening, whatever. He takes anywhere from a day trip to maybe a 4-day trip. Covers a lot of country. And I think you'd have an enjoyable time. He's told us about so many of his clients that he's had from all over this country and all over the world. Jimmy Blair at Bear Witness Safari. You can contact him by going to Jimmy Blair at Bear Witness Safari. You'll have an enjoyable time.